Over a 25-year run in national syndication, Oprah Winfrey built a media portfolio that made her the first Black female billionaire in history. Born into rural poverty in 1954, she eventually controlled her own production company and a global broadcast network. This economic scale translated into direct market influence. Her on-air opinions could cause cattle prices to drop or push obscure novels to the top of the bestseller lists within 48 hours. By 2008, economists estimated her endorsement was responsible for over 1 million votes in the Democratic presidential primaries. Despite this reach, her audience perceives her as a peer. Viewers frequently describe the billionaire mogul as a confidant, a mentor, or a best friend, roles typically reserved for people within one's immediate social circle. This effect is the result of parasocial intimacy. It is a sociological mechanism where a media figure uses specific communication cues to create a sense of a two-way personal relationship with a mass audience that they will never actually meet. Oprah achieved this by engineering a new model of television. Rather than relying on traditional broadcasting authority, she built her persona around a legend of her own life, a narrative constructed from her verified personal history. To create a lasting parasocial bond, the foundation of a public persona must be rooted in an undeniable reality. If the audience detects a manufactured corporate image, the intimacy fails. Her foundation is the extreme poverty of 1950s Mississippi. Her grandmother was a sharecropper, working fields like this one to survive in a deeply segregated and impoverished rural economy. This environment involved specific daily hardships, relying on outdoor wells for water and rustic wooden outhouses. In her household, meat was a rarity. Survival often meant hunting possum or trapping turtles. These facts are documented parts of her childhood. She wore dresses made from potato sacks, faced daily physical discipline, and suffered years of sexual abuse by family members and friends before being sent away to live in Nashville. Documenting this trauma creates a specific psychological bridge for her audience. Because her early life's pain is verifiable, her eventual wealth feels earned rather than alienating. The shared history of struggle allows a working-class viewer to identify with a billionaire. A relatable backstory is only effective if the host knows how to communicate it. Oprah's success relied on a specific shift in communication style that broke with the standards of the era. Before Oprah, the standard was report talk, pioneered by hosts like Phil Donahue. This style was authoritative and emotionally distant. The host functioned as a journalist, keeping a professional gap between themselves and the guests. Oprah used rapport talk, utilizing communication patterns from close female friendships, like self-disclosure and supportive listening, to build trust. She disclosed her own painful experiences, including abuse, a teenage pregnancy, and weight, moving beyond reporter to become a participant in the emotional exchange. This radical disclosure created a reciprocal contract. When Oprah shared her deepest secrets, the audience felt a sense of trust and obligation. They began to care for her in the same way they would care for a personal friend in crisis. Verbal stories were supplemented by a physical performance that dismantled the traditional boundaries of broadcast television. She regularly broke the rules of personal space. She held her guests' hands, maintained sustained eye contact, and often touched audience members as they spoke. These nonverbal cues signaled a level of interest and empathy rarely seen in professional media. By moving into the intimate space of her guests and audience, Oprah reduced the perceived distance between the television screen and the living room. She created a closed-loop conversation that felt like a private interaction rather than a mass broadcast. This shift was so impactful that it earned its own name, Oprahfication. It describes a cultural era where public confession and emotional vulnerability became the primary markers of authenticity in media, politics, and public life. Oprah Winfrey's career demonstrates a specific kind of genius, the ability to take the elements meant to marginalize her race, her trauma, and her poverty, and convert them into the tools required to create the most enduring emotional bonds in media history.